I want to actually end on this mental health point. It's so extraordinary to hear a leader like you focus so much on mental health. And I think it's something that I'm hoping many more leaders will pick up as they have other areas like the human rights or the ESG that you've been talking about. It's so fundamental to what it is to be human. It's so fundamental to health. And as you pointed out, it's so fundamental to performance. So I just want to give you the last word. If there's anything else you can say about how to drive attention to mental health well in large organizations, and in particular, multinational organizations where perception of getting help or perception of how mental health is dealt with in society may differ across different regions.
One of the companies that we've done a lot of work with is called Booz Allen and Hamilton, and they have perhaps some of the most advanced policies and programs around mental health. Well, if you look at their workforce, something like 60% of them are ex-military. So PTSD for their workforce is a real issue, a business imperative where they've got to address this, or more than half of their workplace, is impacted. So, but what they've seen is it's been a retention strategy, and it's been a kind of it's a talent acquisition strategy. So I think to the extent that it all comes down to helping people feel proud about where they work and bring their whole selves to work, which is the business case for the diversity. It's the business case for disability inclusion. It's all the same thing. Always, it comes back to trust. If you and I work together and you're an executive and you have an issue with mental health, or you have an issue with sobriety or substance, and we acknowledge that and we help you, that does so much more than saying nothing or doing nothing. So, one of the sort of core tenets of Ethisphere is that there's a correlation between good behavior and good performance. So I think to the extent that transparency continues to play a role in corporations, which are made up of human beings, can continue to embrace vulnerability, which again is one of the things that's coming out of ESG. Everybody wants to know everything. What's your carbon footprint? What's, how much water are you reusing in Africa? All sorts of stuff like that. And that's only going to continue. So that's actually encouraging. So I guess the last note, while it's easy to be discouraged by everything that we see, I look at corporations. I don't want to say globalism is dead, but if you look at corporations who operate basically with the same values, but in 100 jurisdictions around the world, you've got to almost have a bit of faith that, by embracing values, not being perfect, of course, we've got to hope. And the final thing that we're seeing, like IBM and others in America, education is a big issue. And the income gap and inequality around education. So you've seen IBM fund more than 100 educational institutions that focus squarely on underprivileged neighborhoods and kids that are in free lunches. And they've seen something like 98% of the kids go through these academies and graduate and go on to be productive members of society, even going to advanced greater education or going directly to work. So the private sector is solving a problem, like they need workforce, but they're also solving a societal problem. And I think, those are positive things.